Chapter 123. To terrifying Huang Yan 1. Huang Yan's voice was extremely loud, and his eyes revealed intense anger. It was as though the shopkeeper wasn't humiliating Xu Qing but him. After all, among the items on the counter, there were 3 that he had given to Xu Qing. Faced with Huang Yan's anger, the shopkeeper's expression turned increasingly gloomy. He grabbed the bone the other party threw at him. Holding the bone, he coldly glanced at Huang Yan. He thought to himself, "You didn't leave the pilotage department for the past 8 years just to chase after a senior sister who might be a village girl from the countryside. You gave her so many gifts that everyone knows about it, becoming a joke. Since you're looking for trouble now, don't blame me." He spoke slowly. "You're right. This is stolen goods. It seems that you're also an accomplice in the diamond sex theft case. Men, go and report this to the homicide department. The criminals in the diamond sex theft case have walked right into the trap." The shop assistant pretended to take out a voice transmission jade slip. He looked at the shopkeeper and understood what he should do. He started to slowly send a message and report the case. The eyes of the disciples from the various peaks in the shop gleamed as they watched this scene. To be able to enter the 7 blood eyes and survive in such an environment, most of the disciples had highly active minds. They naturally saw through such a simple trick. They also understood that the main point of this matter wasn't the diamond sex theft, but that someone from the 6th peak wanted to find trouble with Xu Qing and Huang Yan. As for whether it was both of them or just one of them, it was hard for them to tell. However, they felt that there was a high chance that it was targeted at Xu Qing, who took out the items. No one spoke, they just watched from the side. Zhang San was the same. Xu Qing didn't care about the gazes of the others. Right now, he was very surprised by Huang Yan's reaction. Although the relationship between the 2 of them wasn't bad, it wasn't deep after all. The other party's reaction somewhat puzzled him. At the same time, Xu Qing was even more puzzled that the shopkeeper wanted to report the matter to the homicide department and the pretentiousness of the staff at the site. It seemed that this trap wasn't like what he had thought earlier, where they wanted him dead. This was because if they really wanted to kill him, they could have just attacked him. There was no need to involve the homicide department and complicate things. The important figures would not cause a scene to kill Piedmont disciples. This was unreasonable. This matter seemed more like they wanted to make use of this opportunity to beat him up and give the diamond sect an explanation. Moreover, before he entered the shop, he had also sensed that there weren't any overly powerful fluctuations in the surroundings. Even now, it was still the same. It didn't seem like there were any experts present. Just when Xu Qing was deep in thought, Huang Yan glared angrily when he heard the shopkeeper reporting to the homicide department. "The homicide department? Xu Qing is one of them. Oh. Since you know the law and broke it, the severity of your crime will be increased by 1 level." The shopkeeper looked at Huang Yan and frowned as he slowly spoke. Huang Yan was so angry that he started laughing. Xu Qing was feeling increasingly puzzled about this matter. He lifted his hand and stopped him from rushing as he spoke softly. "Huang Yan, this matter has nothing to do with you. You can leave first." After that, he looked at the shopkeeper's neck with a calm expression and slowly spoke. "These are the spoils of war one obtained from wanted criminals. You don't have to slander me. If you have anything to say, just say it." The shopkeeper immediately became vigilant. Xu Qing's reaction made him realize that this person was indeed not simple. In fact, after the higher-ups made the arrangements for this matter, they could have directly gone to Xu Qing and asked him to hand the items over. However, the disciples who knew about this, including him, wanted to take this opportunity to make a fortune. Hence, they resorted to slander. But now, the other party had clearly seen through his tricks. In reality, he also had some understanding of Xu Qing. He knew that someone who could rise to prominence in the homicide department was naturally not a simple person. As a shopkeeper, he had someone protecting him from the back, so he wasn't among those who had to kill and loot each other to survive. Generally speaking, no Piedmont disciple would dare to touch someone like him. However, the feeling of chill on his neck still made him decide to change his mind at this moment. He didn't want to have too many conflicts with Xu Qing. In addition, he felt that he had already used the stick enough and it was time to show the carrot. He was just about to speak up to ease the tension and state the conditions for resolving this matter. But at this moment, Huang Yan, who was stopped by Xu Qing, let out a furious roar. Xu Qing, you don't have to help me shoulder this matter. This matter has nothing to do with you. This is clearly targeted at me, Huang Yan. I know. It must be Zhao Zhaonan. He holds a grudge against me and knows that I come here often, so he colluded with this shop to slander me. As soon as Huang Yan's words came out, the shopkeeper's expression instantly turned strange. He cast a deep glance at Huang Yan as though he was looking at a weirdo. Xu Qing also looked at Huang Yan with narrowed eyes. He wanted to solve the problem, but Huang Yan seemed to want to shift the blame to himself. Huang Yan slammed the counter loudly. Just when he was about to continue bellowing, footsteps rang out from outside the shop, and a cold voice rang out. Who dares to cause a scene? A few figures stepped into the shop. Xu Qing turned his head and narrowed his eyes. These figures wore gray-colored doused robes with the emblem of the homicide department on it. They were members of the homicide department, and the person in the lead was the captain of the Earth Division's Team 3, the merfolk youth whom Xu Qing had followed for more than half a month. Behind him were four members of Team 3. As they entered, the merfolk youth cast an indifferent glance at Xu Qing. So it's you. Xu Qing didn't say anything, but the vigilance in his heart had risen to the extreme. The person who responded to the case so quickly was the merfolk youth who had a deep conflict with him. Something did not smell right.